Okay, so here we go. For lack of better terminology, I'm going to call this the Moser method of candy making. This is my take from the fondant method. What I did here was I already had the stuff on low heat for a little bit of time. I just got done pouring a pan. So as you can see, I had it on low heat. It was hardened up time I got there. I stirred it to the hardened point. The reason I do that is because people have trouble doing consistencies with candy. So if I figured out that if you bring it and set it right up in the pan, you're bringing the candy to the same consistency all the time. I had this on low heat. I just kicked this up to like medium high, and as you can see, it's starting to melt down. I am continually stirring my pan as it melts down. I'm going to continue doing this until I get all the clumps out of it, until I get ready to go over and pour for the molds. Now, I ask you to bear with me. I'm actually videotaping this on my iPhone. I don't have one of those fancy little GoPro things, whatnot, so there's going to be a little bit of a lag time between stirring and pouring, but we're going to take you right through the stir and pour and everything here. As you can see, it's starting to melt down a little bit more. It's starting to kind of look like a thin pancake batter. You know, that's what I tell people, just to make it look like a thin pancake batter. You can see it's kind of creaming up too as I'm stirring it. Make sure you scrape your sides. The pan I got here, I got 2 pour spigots right there. Just a cheap little pan that I got from Walmart, $19.99. Pretty easy. Stainless steel spoon. Steal it from my wife's, kitchen set. She's willing to deal with that, and that's it. And this is how I make all my candy. This method right here isn't how I make my production candy. This is how I teach others to get candy making, because I want to see them make candy. Everybody always has questions, and I don't want to see people struggle making candy. I want to see them to be able to do it. So now you can see most of my clumps are gone, just about. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir this a little bit longer, just try to get those clumps out. We'll whip it a little harder. Okay, I'm pretty good there. Now I'm going to turn the heat right off, and I'm going to pick the pan right up off the heat. Taking the pan right off the heat, what I'm trying to do is blend all the heat in my mixture, because if you have uneven heat, this is where you get the white spots and the marbling of your candy, whatnot. It doesn't really affect the taste of the candy, but it does affect the appearance. And to be honest with you, when people are paying the money for the candy, they want it to look pretty, or as pretty as you can make it. So we're going to keep stirring this a little bit right here. We're starting to even up. Okay, now bear with me. I'm going to move the phone to the next spot so you can watch me pour out this pan. So just hold on. We're just going to set this down right here. Right there. I'm going to put my spoon like that. Okay, so just bear with me, folks. Coming up here. And we're going to come right up on top of here. And we're going to get you a view of my molds. There's my molds. So let me grab my pan again. Still stirring. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start our pour. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to start pouring my candy. We're going to do a continuous pour. As you can see, as I'm pouring, I'm kind of beating the solution a little bit with my spoon. We're getting a little messy. I never said this was a neat thing. Of course, I had to pick the small molds here. These ones are a little harder to fill up. You can see as I'm working my way across. Pouring it right out. And it's this simple. Some people pick up the crumbs, clean up the crumbs as I go over the molds. I don't. I just save the crumbs and I'll put them in a Ziploc bag and I'll save them throughout the year. Sometimes I'll crush them up for sugar for maple sugar for me, for my coffee, not to sell, but you know, if I want some sugar in my coffee, or I save them for sugaring season, and because it's all maple, you know, I'll blend them in when we start boiling with the evaporator, and you know, we'll sweeten up the mix. I try not to have any, you know, I try to have as little waste as possible. You know, I mean, a lot of people know as well as I do, you know, maple's kind of a special thing, and you know, you don't want a lot of waste. You know, the more waste you have, you know, the less you're making off your product. So we're still pouring here. We're just about done with the pan. This is where, I mean, you can see it's starting to get a little thicker as it's coming out of my pan. I could actually take this back over and reheat it, which I probably will. Just hold on 1 second, folks. All I'm doing is sticking it back on the stove to warm it up a little bit. I got talking too much, is what happened. I got talking too much and it kind of got a little cold on me. But no big deal. I mean, that's the joy of this method is you've already set it up and you're just bringing it to the right consistency. So, I've rewarmed it back up, as you can see. Right here. We're going to clean that up. We're going to keep this. And now we're going to finish pouring our candy. And here we go. We're right to the bottom of the pan. And there you go. The Moser method of candy making. I hope you enjoyed.